We are controlling aircrafts. We're telling pilots where to fly in the sky, whether they're turning, climbing, descending, or requesting a certain route. We're the ones telling them exactly where to fly.
We're trying to put it into everybody's mind that women can be air traffic controllers just as well as men can.
Hello, I'm Dashiani Navanagam and welcome to the conversation from the BBC World Service, where we talk to two extraordinary women from around the world on a shared interest or expertise. My guests today hold the lives of millions of people in their hands, but it's rare that you'll ever spot them. Hidden away, air traffic controllers guide and manage multiple aircraft simultaneously, communicating directly with pilots and working in a fast-paced, pressurised environment. Helena Quaestrom-Falk is the first female president of the International Federation of Air Traffic Controllers Associations. She's recently retired from a long career in air traffic control in Sweden. And Johanna Al-Maheri is a senior air traffic control officer, examiner and instructor in the United Arab Emirates, working with millions of passengers each year. Helena and Johanna, a very warm welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Johanna, what's the best thing about being an air traffic controller?
The best thing about being an air traffic controller is that no 2 days are the same. Every day that you go in, you have a different scenario that you have to work with different aircrafts from all across the world. And there's the job satisfaction of knowing that you're impacting millions of lives every shift.
Helena, what about you?
Well, besides what Johanna already mentioned, I think also worth noticing is that air traffic control is a huge part of aviation, and aviation is the backbone of modern society, actually. If you look at culture exchange or economics, whatever, aviation is an incredibly large part, and we are the ones that make it work.
What's the worst thing, Helena?
The worst thing is when, of course, bad things happen. And it doesn't have to be a horrible accident, which fortunately very few of us ever have to experience. But when you feel that things did not go the way that you had planned for, and the inadequacy that you go home with, that is terrible. But that's why we're working very hard in as many ways as we can to get some systems in place, procedures and structures to take care of air traffic controllers who are experiencing these things on the job.
And Johanna, what about you? What's the worst thing for you?
So I've been doing shift work for 11 years now, and I do feel the toll night shifts are taking on my body. So I've become a lot more self-aware of my wellness. So it really does interfere with your circadian rhythm. If you don't sleep right, if you don't eat right, if you don't move right, get your daily movement in, I really do feel the impact of that. So the way to rectify what is negative is to take care of your health and do what everybody has been told to do, but actually take that advice.
And as I said, I mean, this is a job that is hidden away from people. People very rarely actually see you doing it. Just explain to us, what exactly does the job involve?
As an air traffic controller, I actually go speak at a few schools, so I'll explain it the way I explain to children. So I use a Spider-Man analogy, right? So, Spider-Man, he's busy and he's out there and he's like, busy working. And then he has his best friend, Ned. And Ned is the guy that's in the chair. And what he does is he tells Spider-Man where to go, where it's safe, where the bad guys are, and how to navigate. So we are basically Ned on steroids. We are controlling aircrafts. We're telling pilots where to fly in the sky, whether they're turning, climbing, descending, or requesting a certain route. We're the ones telling them exactly where to fly. So we are literally like the puppet masters in the sky, telling pilots where to go from point A to point B to ensure safe skies. And we not only work with pilots, but we also work with other air traffic controllers, not just in the room that you're working in, but even in adjacent units, depending on where you're working and where you're situated.
Helena, would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. I think that something that most of the flying public are not aware of is that if they are flying on a passenger aircraft, that aircraft is in constant contact with air traffic control from the very, very second they leave the stand at the airport and then taxiing out on the runway, departing, climbing, and all the way en route. The pilots on the flight deck are in constant control or contact with air traffic controllers all across the globe. So if you have a 13-hour flight, the pilots have probably spoken to hundreds of air traffic controllers all along the way. And
Wow.
we never take our eyes off of them. There's
Yeah,
always somebody watching.
Helena,
exactly. It's like playing a game of relay.
a game of relay. That is,
Yeah, you know,
it's a lot going on for the pilots and a lot going on for you as well. Helena, you've been doing this job for decades. How has the advancement of technology changed the job in your lifetime?
Yes, that's true. I had 37 years in air traffic control, and I just retired as a watch supervisor now this last November. The big change, as I see it, is that when I started in 1987, the job was much more hands-on and a bit of craftsmanship, one can almost say. We then created every situation and developed it as it went along, whereas nowadays you have computer systems that work with the flight plans that the pilots and the airlines put in. And already before departure time, much of the flight has been planned, at which points or intersections there will be level changes, et cetera, et cetera. Although things always happen along the way, like weather or something else. So the air traffic controllers are anyway constantly working on every particular flight all along the way. But that's the big difference, that the technology has really exploded compared to when I started 37 years ago.
Does it make what you're doing a bit more predictable now in one sense?
Yes, it definitely does, depending on, though, what type of aviation you're working with. We also have military aviation and general aviation, the small private aircraft, and that's a totally different thing. That is not planned in advance. But yes, predictability is also something that the airlines are asking for. Actually, nowadays, it is more important for an airline to know exactly at what minute a particular aircraft will land than that it lands 9 minutes ahead of schedule. Because if the gate is not ready, if the ground personnel are not ready, it doesn't help if the aircraft comes in 9-10 minutes early, because then the whole chain in the system is going to be broken or at least halted anyway. So predictability, that's really what the airlines are looking for these days.
Johanna, you work in one of the busiest regions in the world. What is that like? How many aircraft can you be managing at once?
I lose count because it is quite a busy airspace. But I know we recently just hit over 1 million movements in the last year. And I work in a facility where we work with aircrafts that are overflying, landing, and departing out of the United Arab Emirates. So, you know, you see these clips of, oh, Dubai airport is so busy. I'm working Dubai airport, Abu Dhabi airport, Ras Al Khaimah airport, Al Ain airport, with the aircraft that are landing and departing, and then aircrafts that are choosing to overfly the country's airspace as well. So it's a lot.
Helena, you started out at a more rural airport before moving to other places. How does the location affect the work?
Oh, it definitely does, but not only the location. I was thinking about that when we were talking about the number of aircraft. It's not always the case that the number of aircraft is the most important thing, or that the thing that makes it more challenging. It depends very much what type of aircraft you have. So, for example, if you're working a radar sector with mixed traffic, with mixed military, civilian, scheduled, that is passenger flights, and also private aircraft, general aviation, maybe gliders, maybe parachuting in the middle of everything, and that could make it incredibly complicated, and you would be able to handle fewer aircraft, but you would be busy the whole time. So when I started out, I started working in a tower. The tower always controls between 5 to 8 kilometers out from the airport and from the ground up to about 500 meters. My case was an island in the Baltic Sea called Gotland, and I worked in Visby Airport as an assistant air traffic controller. So not very busy in the wintertime, but in the summertime with a lot of tourists and also some military deployment, it got quite busy. But then after more training and became an air traffic controller, I worked in a radar center, controlling the approach and also en route through that airspace with 4 different airports. So my airspace at that time started at 500 meters and went up to 3,000 meters. So I did that for 27 years, and that was very, very fun and challenging. Actually, I think it's the best type of air traffic control because you don't really know what's going to happen. You'll have a really fast fighter jet coming through. And next to it, you'll have a small helicopter, or you will have a general aviation pilot who is maybe not so used to flying, so things have to be a little bit more careful and slow when you speak, etc., etc. And then you also have intermixed with that passenger traffic with obviously professional pilots who do this all day, every day. So the mix is very challenging.
People say that you hold the lives of many others in your hands. I said that right at the beginning. Helena, do you feel that stress in the moment?
No. If you did, you wouldn't be able to work.
Yeah.
That's the short answer. It's not maybe so exciting, but really that's the way that it is. You learn very quickly to not look at the radar symbols or blips as 300 people here and 285 people there. No, you're basically thinking of the aircraft and moving it.
Johanna, you agree as well?
Yeah, I agree. And, with, Emirates Airlines, they're very well known for having the 380s. Those are 800 passengers it's configured to be able to carry. So I can't think, oh, it's 800 people on there. I just think, all right, I know the procedures. I've been trained for years and I got this.
We're trying to put it into everybody's mind that women can be air traffic controllers just as well as men can. And it's really time to start dipping into the whole pool of young professionals or could be good professionals working in this occupation. Because if you leave 50% out at a time like we have now, it's so bad because we need the people. That's the most important thing. We need to have more air traffic controllers, and we also need to have a better mix of air traffic controllers, not only gender, but also from every ethnicity, culture, religion.
Helena, I wondered, when you started out, did you feel that your voice was taken seriously?
Absolutely, I did. But I did feel that there was a difference from some individuals. My first position as an air traffic controller was in an approach control managing military aircraft. And we were at the time, I think that there was one woman before me who had succeeded. And there were pilots and there were also instructors who did not think that this was a good idea, that a young and small and blonde woman would walk into this dark radar room and take control of the military aircraft that would be flying that day. So times have changed, certainly, and there is still more change needed. But I think
did you deal with that?
The only thing to do is work and do your best and just try to be the best that you can and try to not let any bad words bring you down. I think it comes from ignorance and lack of education. So it's much better now. And in the parts of the world where it isn't better now, that's what's needed. It's more education and enlightenment.
Well, you've gone on to become the first female president of the International Federation of Air Traffic Controllers Associations. That's hugely significant, isn't it?
It is actually huge. I don't think that it would have been possible even 6-7 years ago. The Federation was founded in 1961, and there has only been a handful of women even on the executive board in all those years. So to have a woman as president, which we now do, it is huge, absolutely. And I also see that it gets recognition from a lots of different places. And one of the things that I find it very important with is that we can use the term "see us, be us." Look at us. We are air traffic controllers. We're women. It's possible. So see me, be me. I am the president of the International Federation of Air Traffic Controllers Associations. We have now 133 member associations. We represent around 40,000 air traffic controllers worldwide. I think that can be an inspiration for younger women who would want to do the same one day. And that makes me extremely proud.
As an air traffic controller, how exposed or protected are you within the industry or within a country?
That also depends on where you're working, unfortunately. Most of us, like I said in the beginning, most of us will never have the misfortune to witness or be involved in a bad accident incident. But some are. And then there are systems, for example, CISM, Crisis Management, which is not only in aviation, but it's a program that exists for workers, for example, firefighters and police, etc. Critical incident stress management. If that is in place, it's an excellent tool for you to debrief and try to just offload and come to terms with what has happened. And in some cases, even CISM is not enough, and you will need professional help. And that's also part of what we, the Federation of IFATCA, is working on, trying to get these programs into place everywhere.
Johanna, what do you see are as the core skills needed to become an air traffic controller?
Multitasking, which it's scientifically proven women are good at. Decision making, the ability to visualize in 2D and 3D. We also have to be able to do mental arithmetic quick in our heads, but it's basic math. So, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and putting that into physics as well, speed, distance, time, to be able to know, okay, if this aircraft is flying at this speed, how long will it take to reach a certain point? And be able to put all that together with the first point I mentioned of multitasking. And also I want to add, I had the honor and privilege to witness Helena becoming president in Singapore. So I felt so proud. I remember I was just sat there in the audience and I was like, I was meant to be here to see this, because I was added onto the trip as a last minute exchange with one of the other managers. And I was like, I'm just so happy to see this and witness this. So you were so busy that day. I'm like, I'm still getting a picture with you.
Helena, what would you say to a young woman who might be thinking of this as a career?
Oh, absolutely. Try it. Go for it. 100%, because it's worth it.
Thank you very much to both of you. That was really fascinating.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, I agree. This was wonderful. Thank you. I got an opportunity to wear blue and feel like the sky.
My guests today have been Helena Quellström Falk, President of the International Federation of Air Traffic Controllers Associations, and Johanna Al Meheri, a Senior Air Traffic Controller in the United Arab Emirates.